Hi, my name is AndrewZH, professional MotoGP 20 racer and 2019 Esports World Champion. Today we talk about the right setup because without it you won't even get close to driving your very best. Let's start with maybe the easiest setting to tweak, the tires. The game offers you two possibilities, soft and hard tires. However, if you want to get the best lap time possible, there is no way around soft tires. They provide more grip than their hard counterparts. This means you can accelerate better and even won't crash as fast in a corner, so I would recommend going with them. Let's move up the bike a bit and get to the suspension. With the preload you determine the height of your bike. This most influences your over and understeer. Preloading the front more enhances the grip on the front tires and reduces understeer. For the back tires it's the complete opposite. Play around a bit and find your individual sweet spot. I normally go with 5. The spring rebound determines how aggressively the spring returns into the neutral position. If you add more, your bike is prone to oversteering when you apply throttle in the corner. I recommend a 10-4, which is a good on every track. The compression of the springs on the other end is very important. With the front compression set too low, you will always go for a stoppie. You don't have a choice. Same goes for the shock absorber, but with wheelies instead of stoppies. That doesn't mean that you should always apply the lowest settings FUG. The sweet spot is right before they lift off for maximum efficiency. Let's stay with this topic for a little longer and have a look at the hardness of springs. Tweaking this setting determines how easily the motorcycle moves. Really hard springs provide great movement, but with great movement comes great instability. Any bump will send you flying almost immediately. What goes for the springs also goes for the single shock absorbers, so adjusting them together is strongly advised. Try to find the right balance for your driving style depending on how often you drive over the curbs and how bumpy the track is ahead of you. I for example prefer 1.3 on a bumpy track like Austin. On a smoother track I rather go with 4.8. And believe or not, steering adjustments is basically more of the same and gives you the choice between stability or mobility. And now for stability and onto the thing that sparked most joy in racing, speed! Your gears may very well be one of the most important components you can tweak for maximum speed but also overall. First of all, you should set your final drive. This determines how fast your bike can go. A lower final drive leads to a faster bike, but what you gain in speed you lose in acceleration, so this has to be fine-tuned for the specific track you're riding on. On a stop-and-go track you can go as high as a 7 or 8 on your final drive without much of a problem. If the track has a long straight, on the other hand, go for it. Set your final drive to a 3 and overtake everyone on the long straight. I normally go with a 4 to 6. This balance setting should be the right one for every race you normally ride. But of course there are tracks where I also set my final drive higher or lower. After this is set and done, you still have 6 gears left to fine-tune. For the first gear you should aim to prevent wheelies while still going for the fastest acceleration possible. Anytime one of your wheels loses track, you aren't using the full power of your engine for speed. FUG you can normally keep it to a 5. I would recommend pyramiding gears 2 to 5. When your first gear is set to 5 like mine, then the second will be a 6, the third a 7 and so on. The 6th gear is the only one breaking the rear here. In my usual setup I set it as low as a 4. The brakes are even simpler. Bigger brakes provide more stopping power. There is only a downside if you aren't careful with it and accidentally stop fully. Otherwise, bigger really is better. This gets a bit more tricky depending on the weather. With a dry road, you can go for the bigger brakes, no holes spared. On a wet track, on the other hand, I will go with smaller brakes. This reduces the risk of braking too hard and subsequently losing control. Finding your settings for everything is great. At least as important is figuring out the right settings for the track ahead of you. But with my settings, you at least have some good overall ones. With an individual setup for each track, you will dominate every race in no time.